This is arsenic poisoning. You can't see it or smell it, but if it's in your water, within 3 to 5 years, not only will your hands look like that, but you'll get arsenicosis, an incurable cancer-causing disease leading to death. This is fluorosis. If you have fluoride in your water, you'll get mottling of the teeth, bone and joint damage, as well as stunted development, especially if you're between the ages of 1 to 5, an unfortunate reality for over 10 million children in India alone. Collectively, the biggest tragedy is that despite billions of dollars being spent, over 500 million people in India and Bangladesh alone suffer from such water-related diseases. Now, the World Health Organization calls this the largest mass poisoning in human history. And growing up as a Bangladeshi American, I always wondered why people like my grandpa passed away due to this crisis. As a Fulbright scholar, I found 3 reasons why this problem, that takes 1 in 5 deaths in Bangladesh alone, persists. First is the lack of appropriate technology that actually thrives in rural constrained environments. Incumbents like reverse osmosis and activated alumina simply require too much energy or too much upkeep for unskilled and illiterate locals to maintain. Second is the lack of paying customers. Put simply, donor-financed capital expenditures and operating expenditures results in a reliance on fickle donors who have shifting development priorities, which in result rate create a 30% slippage from systems that work in day 1 to systems that are still going to work in day 3. The UN recently released a report saying how in Africa alone, 1 in 4 systems fail after only 3 years. And finally, it's the lack of scale. In India alone, you have 2/3 of India beyond the pipe, as they simply don't have a cost-effective infrastructure to install piped water systems. Collectively, this issue sees a $1.6 billion spend by governments, corporate social responsibility initiatives, and NGOs. Today, I'd like to present you with a company that's addressing these 3 gaps. Introducing DrinkWell. Put simply, we deliver clean water to those who need it most by blending 100% locally sourced technology with pair-skilled service engineers, all wrapped in a business-in-a-box franchise that co-opts existing rural distribution channels. Now, our approach can best be described through our 4-stage select, build, sell, service business model. And we start executing on this model in the arsenic and iron segment that's worth $412 million in India and Bangladesh alone. So, in terms of revenue streams, we really make money in 2 stages. In the build stage, we actually sell locally sourced media at a 40% gross margin. And then we also sell our entire system at about 6.2 lakhs, or roughly $10,000 at an 8% gross margin. And then we also sell our system to governments who issue tenders. And so those tenders are bid on by contractors who, when winning with our technology, give us about a 10% royalty. And then finally, the way we make recurring revenue is actually through servicing, where in which we have a 35 to 50% gross margin recurring business, when we actually have our own service engineers make sure the systems are providing World Health Organization compliant drinking water. Now, let's do a deep dive into our business model. First, we select franchisees by engaging with local stakeholders, and we have either organizations who are currently operating with inefficient technologies or reverse osmosis. In areas where you don't have organizations, we have individuals. And then we have the individuals go through our month-long training program. Sarah's Druplika, one of our entrepreneurs in West Bengal, and she then hires 2 drivers and a caretaker. Next, we build the system. This costs $10,000 and takes 10 years. And the way our system works is first we have an existing tube well that's currently accessing contaminated groundwater. We then install our 25 cubic meter, 1,000 liter an hour system, wherein which we pump water up to a raw water storage tank and then filtrate water using gravity through our media that removes iron, uh, arsenic, and other harmful metals. And then we have the water go through a UV filter to remove bacterial contaminants. Finally, we dispense safe water into 20-liter jugs that are picked up by customers or delivered to their households. Or, finally, available in real time via water ATM systems, at which the customers can access safe water at the low price of a quarter penny a liter. Now, what makes us truly unique is the fact that we require little to no electricity, and that we actually have a patented resin that can remove heavy metals, all the while capable of being regenerating. That means, unlike a Brita filter, where after a certain period of time you must dispose of the filter and purchase a new one, we can regenerate our resin every 6 months or 2 million liters for 5 cycles, meaning you don't have to buy a new batch of resin for 2.5 years. During regeneration, the arsenic is oxidized, making it benign to the environment, and then stored in a concrete storage tank, an EPA-validated approach. So what's really unique is unlike existing ion exchange resins, we actually are twice as durable, and then we recover 99% of water, whereas reverse osmosis will only recover 30 to 49%. And finally, our end user suggested retail price is 125 times cheaper than bottled water. Now, we do have an exclusive license on this technology from Lehigh University for all of South Asia and Africa. In terms of price, we charge about 6.2 lakhs or $10,000 for a system that includes a water ATM digital payment solution for de-risking cash management, and we make about a 7% gross margin on that. And last quarter alone, we, through our licensee Rightwater, won over about $200,000 or 1.6 crore in rupees worth of tenders in West Bengal alone. So after the select phase, we have the best part. It's where the franchisees use their social capital to sell their water at a quarter penny a liter. And many of our entrepreneurs have actually gone so well that they've actually purchased a car to meet increasing demand from adjacent villages. Here's a high-level overview of their unit economics. On average, you have 600 households paying $1.50 a month to earn about $900 in revenue. So in rupees, that's about 100 rupees a month for 60,000 rupees in total revenue. And then after all of the expenses, you have about 15% left in gross margin, and that's anywhere between 1.2 to 4.4 times the average rural income. And in the beginning, our entrepreneurs take out a microloan that essentially has them parting with half of the gross margin. So that's why in about year 3, you'll have them making more like 2 to 4x the average income. Now finally, we fill the big gap in the sector, which is servicing, by having our own team of service engineers. So here's Partha, one of our service engineers in West Bengal, do 3 things. First, he'll go unannounced to a site to ensure the system is kept clean and tidy. Next, he'll collect a water sample and bring the water back to a lab to conduct water quality testing to ensure it's compliant with World Health Organization standards. And then if necessary, we'll regenerate the resin. And it's clear when it's time for regeneration, because when the time comes, the water will show a red tint due to high iron, thereby giving a visual cue to franchisees and customers of how it's time for regeneration. Now we have a tiered pricing structure per 1,000 liters that goes down as throughput goes up. The range is from 59 cents to 49 cents per 1,000 liters, or here in rupees, between 30 to 37. We make between a 35 to 50% gross margin on this. And franchisees enter this contract because they want to focus on sales and marketing, their core skill set, as our core skill set lies in ensuring the technology is actually providing compliant water. Now, last quarter, we also launched our first water ATM system with our sanitation franchisee partner, Human Power. This is truly revolutionary in how they were using a community toilet block that actually takes human waste to power a biodigester. Now that biodigester is actually powering a water filtration system that they're using to generate revenue that is financing the operational expenditures of the toilet block, wherein which we now have a complete soup to nuts water and sanitation solution in Bihar. Now, in terms of sustainability, we truly stand out in 3 ways. Environmentally, we're recovering 99% of water, and we also have a 16x decrease in carbon emissions compared to reverse osmosis. Economically, we can create up to a 3 to 5x increase in income for franchisees, and many of our customers report a 85% decrease in medical expenditures by having access to safe water. And socially, we're creating 3 jobs per system, and finding that on average 10% of the franchisee earnings are actually going towards donations for the Kali Temple or local government institutions and community-based organizations to help strengthen capacity. In terms of advantages, we are essentially creating a proprietary technology platform via our technology that can cost-effectively remove heavy metals, and we're preserving the assurance of safe water by creating a defensible service network that creates a dependency on the franchisees to pay us a service fee to ensure that assurance. And what that's really doing is letting us create a controlled sales channel where in which we have franchisees that are finally getting aggregated in rural Bangladesh and India, who we can essentially leverage as a controlled sales channel for other high-value life-saving products. Now, in terms of the team that's bringing this innovation to market, first you have myself, Minhash Chaudhry. I have 5 years experience managing water projects with Johns Hopkins and BRAC, and I met Dr. Arup Singh Gupta while on a Fulbright scholarship in India, where he was the inventor of the technology and looking to truly scale the innovation. And he was working with his then PhD student, Mike German, who's head of our products. And we worked together to refine the technology and then finally brought on the general manager of Tata Consulting Engineers, Prasoon Chatterjee, to join us as our CTO in January. We've also built a board with Sanjay Verma, who is the founder of ITC Infotech, and he specifically led the eChopal initiative that connects 4 million rural farmers to the global agricultural marketplace. We have a strong advisory board with executives from PricewaterhouseCoopers and Burson Marsteller, and we're also backed by leading social impact organizations like Echoing Green, USAID, and the U.S. Indo-Science Technology Endowment Fund. Now, our team has deployed 200 systems across 5 countries with non-dilutive CapEx financing from world-renowned organizations like Intel, TI, the NSF, and we have 3 main franchisees, Right Water, Water for People, and Human Air Power, that are serviced today through 7 full-time employees. Now, dating from the beginning of when this technology was first developed at Lehigh all the way to today, we've, as a team, raised $1.3 million to have 7 journal articles validating our technology that is essentially giving over 200,000 people safe drinking water across 5 countries. Now, we've also been recognized by Forbes 30 Under 30, various media articles, and most importantly, gain endorsements from key water sector leaders such as Peter Ravenscroft from the World Bank Water and Sanitation Program, who is the leading thinker on arsenic. Now, by early next year, we'll have regulatory approval across India and Bangladesh, and we'll be able to also service our systems through our own facilities that are essentially providing support to 50 operational systems that remove not just arsenic and iron, but also fluoride and nitrate. And here's a high-level overview of our financials. We're on track for earning about $60,000 in revenues this year and over $1 million next year, and we're really investing deeply in building out our service network over the next 3 years and sharpening the sales learning curve for onboarding new franchisees, which is what informs our high-growth stage beginning in 2017, which is when we can truly hit our stride to be scalable. And by 2019, we plan on capturing 1.3% of the market with nearly 8,500 systems and about $17 million in revenue. Now, ultimately, the spend for us comes down between India and Bangladesh, which are 2 entities. Our corporate structure is a Delaware-based C Corp with wholly owned subsidiaries abroad. And we do this through a $450,000 convertible note raise that we're currently raising. And what it really does is help us de-risk 5 things. So first is scale up by opening a fabrication center in West Bengal. Second is business model by opening 2 regeneration centers to truly prove that we can achieve 40% plus servicing margins. Finally, we want to de-risk the Bangladesh execution risk by launching 10 systems. And while we do this, we really want to attract CapEx financing from micro-lenders to prove that we can actually get debt to finance the entrepreneur's lack of access to capital. And then finally, we're also launching a Salesforce backend to control for quality. In closing, we have a strategic opportunity here to transform millions of lives. Lined at the top and bottom of this slide are our backers thus far, and we'd be honored to have you join us as we transform the global water crisis into entrepreneurial opportunity. Thank you.